Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Madiba. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Madiba. Happy birthday to you. Okay, I've washed my hands. I've sung happy birthday twice. And I've got my mask on. And there are at least 2 meters between us, if not more. So I think I can take my mask off. Gosh, like having underpants over your head. And I'll keep it with me in my pocket just in case somebody sneezes, either you at home or somebody in the studio. And here we are on the 17th of July, 2020, just after 6 p.m. And we are alive and more or less breathing and celebrating the fact that we are getting ready for Nelson Mandela's birthday tomorrow on the 18th. And it's been quite something because we are going to celebrate it far apart and yet very close, with hope and happiness and humor and home. That's a new one for me. Usually my audience is sitting right there, and now you are right there. But really, truly, home is where we have been for a hell of a long time, I think nearly 4 months. It's a bit like, can one say it, house arrest, being locked up, solitary confinement. But here we are, we can still laugh. And thanks to Cricket and Eskom, please, we can celebrate ourselves. And of course, the 67 minutes that we are going to give to the world to celebrate Nelson Mandela's 67 minutes in politics. Okay, so tell me something. What did you do in the last 113 days, the last 2,712 hours under lockdown? Do you know what? I grew a beard, a real beard. No, real beard, a big, real beard, which of course I had to cut off for here because I have a relationship with a lady who doesn't have a beard. You want to see Tani Evita with a beard? I don't think so. But I've also had a chance to sort things out. I mean, I have got so much stuff after 40 years, nearly said 400 years, it feels like it sometimes. 40 years of doing this job, of having all the characters that I perform. So you can imagine I've got hats and glasses, and I've got beards, and I've got clothes and shoes, and just so much to sort out because now I have time during this lockdown to clean cupboards and find that one black sock that I've missed for the last 4 years. And I found it, and I'm wearing both black socks tonight. And I'm glad for all these boxes around me here because I need them at home, and I'm going to take them at home. But hey, I don't think I'm the only person with empty boxes around me. I think you people at home, you just have to look around and you can see that you've also got the boxes because we've all been warned. We have been told by our government that once they found the vaccine in Dr. Wouter Basson's freezer, they will expropriate land without compensation. When future possible, President, Corruptor-in-Chief Julius Malema says to white South Africans, you've got 24 hours to get out of my country and go back to Europe where you belong and take Helen Zille with you. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week or even next month. We've got more serious viruses to confront. But listen, be prepared. Go put your mask on, go to the shop and buy yourself a red EFF beret. Keep it handy, near to your front door. And then one day, when you actually hear the EFF come up your driveway, and you will hear them because they make a lot of noise, then you put on your red beret and you open your front door and you say, sorry, I was here first. Meh, 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 meh. But there's a lot one can do. There's a lot one can do now, especially planning for the new normal, whenever that happens, when you hope that you can turn your spare room into an Airbnb. So clean it up. Clean up the cupboards, the wall cupboards. We've all got a wall cupboard so full of stuff that when you open the doors, it might fall on you and kill you. So start with the wall cupboard. Very carefully open the wall cupboard because you want to throw these things away. But if you haven't been into this cupboard for about 4 years anyway, and you look at the cupboard and vrachtig, dis 'n gemors. And then you suddenly stop.
You've seen something. Oh, you can't throw that away, the 1953 Life magazine with the pictures of Queen Elizabeth's coronation. No, I must keep that. Ag nee, in die huisgenoot met Dr. Verwoerd se begrafnisprente in. Ek kan dit nie weggooi nie. Oh, and there's a little bottle. And you rattle it because there's something in it. Yes, it's your children's milk teeth. And then you find those 7 tins of tuna that remind you of the first democratic election on the 27th of April, 1994, when all the white people were collecting tins of tuna. Now we collect toilet rolls, but then it was tins of tuna. Oh, and what do you find? A carton of cigarettes and 4 bottles of wine. Shh, don't tell anybody. Do you know what happens? You spend hours and hours with that cupboard and everything goes back into the cupboard because you can't throw away your life and your memories. Well, I mean, you throw one thing away, and that's that electrical cord with the funny plug. There's always one of those, and you just chuck it away. Yeah, you've just made your computer irrelevant because the next day it doesn't work. You've thrown away the cord. Now, that's serious. If you haven't got your computer working, the Russians and the Americans won't even know you exist because everything happens through the computer. Everything happens through the cell phone, the smartphone. It's all in the palm of your hand. The Twitters, the tweets, the twats, everything. I'm, of course, a little bit old-fashioned. I grew up without all those things, and I had to find the breaking news because my material depended on what was happening in the politics of South Africa. And so, of course, newspapers. And by the way, I brought today's newspaper with me just to prove to you that this is live. This is today's newspaper. This is not pre-recorded live. This is really live. And news doesn't really break in the newspapers, but oh man, I love the smell. It still smells like a newspaper, even when you line the cat's sandbox with it. And of course, in the old days, I needed these newspapers, especially the ones that were also fighting against these horrible things that were happening in our politics. And I needed to share those headlines with my audience who had also seen the headlines. And so we could laugh, not because anything was funny, but laugh at our fear and maybe make that fear less fearful. That was for a long time, over 10 years, 15 years, nearly 20 years. I depended on newspapers. And you know, funny enough, even today's newspaper gives me material for a show. Nothing original. Somebody used the K word again, hey? Somebody used the K word and is arrested and is going to court. Oh, come on, people. 26 years of democracy, 26 years, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. There are so many words you can use to tell somebody you don't like them. Don't use the K word. We used a lot of K words in the old apartheid South Africa. Catholic, communist, of net plain kak. But it's getting very difficult not to be angry. It is getting very difficult with the bad news and the frightening news not to really feel useless. I mean, what can we do? I mean, the bad news, we can do nothing about the bad news. It's happening all over the world, but not here. So what can we do? Well, there's a lot we can do. We are citizens. We have voices. You've got a computer. You can write an email and you can just change the world, huh? And so go back to your wall cupboard, take out a bottle of wine. Oh, yes, please don't tell anybody. You need a bit of courage. So dis lekker. Okay, now you are going to make a list of all the things that really upset you. I mean, the children going back to school. Are they going to go back to school? Are the schools going to be safe? Is the only safe school outside under a tree next to a cow? And what about the taxis with too many people in? Are they going to keep the little windows open to get some fresh air? All these things that just make you very upset and very angry. And of course, cigarettes. Oh, please, let's not go there. And what about the wine? Hey, now you have another glass of wine just to really make yourself strong. And so you start. You sit at your computer and there you type. Ding, 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 ding. Dear Minister Nkozozana, how do you spell that? Just write Zuma. When in doubt, say Zuma. And there you are. You just let it out. You've got the right. You are a citizen of a democracy. And when it's over, you press send and it's out in the world. It's gone. Your email is gone. You can't get it back. Hey? It's out there with all the K words and M words G words, and all those words you used in your fury, you can't get it back. I mean, in the old days, you could reverse your car into the post box and get your letter back. But now, what does it mean? It means be careful, be careful, be careful. Yes, anger is important because you can find out what you're angry about and make it better for people. I have a sign on my computer, big letters, so I don't use my glasses. I can read it. It says, "Don't press send when pissed." And of course, you've got WhatsApp. You can use that constructively, as I do every now and then. Send a WhatsApp to my friend who used to be a premier of the Western Cape. "Helen, darling, please don't tweet after the second glass of Chardonnay." But you know, I'm also guilty of using these words, well, not the K word, but certainly other words. One specific word that people say is lazy way of using a word. Why not? Can't I? What's wrong with the word darling? I mean, the D word, darling. It means so many things. I mean, you can see somebody and say, "Hello, darling." Or you can see someone and say, "Hello, darling." Oh, yeah. I was in Europe last year. In fact, I was in London with a show. Gosh, it feels like 1,000 years ago. Let me just think. Was it last? Yeah, last year in London with a show. And of course, Heathrow Airport. And you stand in that queue, which goes on forever at the passport control for us third world people. I mean, the British people don't queue up because they just walk through going me, 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 because they belong to the European Union. Past tense. Not anymore. The wonderful thing about Brexit is that the Brits will have to also get a Schengen visa. Okay, there I am in the queue, and eventually I get to the desk, and there's the officer, and he takes my passport, and he looks, and he pages, and he says, "Pieter-Dirk Uys, sorry, sir, how do you pronounce your surname?" I said, "Ace, like ACE." "Oh, you pronounce it ACE and you write it UYS?" I said, "Yes, it's an African thing." "Oh, where do you live?" "Darling." "Yes, darling, but where?" "No, I live in a town called Darling. No, really, I do. I live in a town up the West Coast called Darling." Look, I wasn't meant to go to Darling. No way was I planning to live in a town called Darling. I just took a wrong turning one day. It was the first anniversary of our democracy. It was the 27th of April, 1995, 365 days after the T word terrorist became the G word government. And I thought, wow, first Freedom Day. I'm going to do something special. What can I do? What can I do? I will go for a drive. A very South African thing. Going for a drive. I thought I'd go up and see McGregor up in the mountains near Worcester. I heard it's very pretty. And let me go and celebrate Freedom Day by going to McGregor. So I'm driving off to McGregor, and I end up in Darling. I mean, that's like going to China and ending up in Brazil. I thought, what am I doing here, for goodness sake? But then I see a sign for a restaurant, Zum Schatzi, a German restaurant in Darling. I'll have a schnitzel in Darling. So I knock at the door of the restaurant, and a man opens the door. I now know him to be Herman the German. And he says, "Nein, you're too early for the schnitzel. It's only 11 o'clock in the morning. The cow is still in the field. You go for a walk a little bit in the town and come back in 2 hours, and then your schnitzel will be ready." So I said, "Okay, fine." So I go in the street, and there's a young woman, estate agent, who's selling the house across the road, and she sees me, and she says, "Oh, Pieter-Dirk Uys, I saw your show at the Baxter Theatre last week. What are you doing in Darling?" I said, "I'm on my way to McGregor." She said, "Oh, but do you know Darling?" I said, "No." She said, "Get in the car. I have got another house for sale up the road, which is a nightmare. Let me tell you, it's been empty for 7 years. It's derelict. There are snakes under the floor, but it's an open day, so we'll go. But get in the car." So I get into the car, and she drives me around this very pretty little town, and she says, "Look, there's a little Victorian house that we sold last month, and there's a Victorian cottage we're selling next week." And I said, "Yes, and there's a Victorian dog, and there's a Victorian cat." And we come around the corner, and there, among the elephant grass of neglect, is this old, dilapidated, wrecked Victorian house. I mean, shutters skew, shutters gone, glass cracked, glass broken. I mean, really, looks like a very old lady without any teeth. I bought the house in the car. I said, I want this house. She said, what? I said, I want to buy this house. She said, no. I said, yes. She said, no. I said, what do you mean, no? You're the estate agent. You can't say no. She said, but look at it. It's going to cost you a fortune to renovate this house. Anyway, it's far too expensive. We must negotiate. I said, oh, no. We are now in the new South Africa. No more negotiation. I mean, look there. Coming up the road, a new Mercedes-Benz with Durban number plates. I bet you that car is full of very rich Indians house hunting with cash in the boot of the car. I want this house. I want this house. So 3 hours later, I left Darling with a schnitzel in my tummy and a house in my hand. And I went back to Cape Town, to the gardens where I had my house that I had bought 6 months before. I mean, hello. And I said to my friends, I have just bought a house in Darling. They said, why? I didn't know. I didn't even tell them it's a derelict house with snakes under the floorboards. I mean, what have I done? What nonsense is this? Anyway, I better go back to Darling and give the house back and say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And so on the Saturday morning, next day, I get back into the car and I drive all the way to Darling, not via McGregor. I think, let me just quickly go and look at this house just to see, is it really in the state I think it's in? And you know, it was even in a worse state. I said, you are going to go to the estate agent now. I don't want you. At that moment, a little car stopped behind my car and a young man got out and he said, are you Pieter-Dirk Uys? I said, yes. He said, I believe you've just bought this house. I was just ready to go into my monologue of yes, but no, but yes, but no, but yes, but no, but. He said, I've just come back from London. I restore Victorian houses. Let me restore this house for you as a showcase. Hey? Are things meant to be? I mean, are things written down? Look, if I had left 4 minutes before and he'd arrived 2 minutes later, I wouldn't be here or there today. And so we started renovating this house. I immediately said to him, don't bring in people from outside. Listen, there must be talent in our community of Darling. There are carpenters and painters and electricians, and find them. Yes. Everybody who worked on the renovation of my little house lived in the community of Darling. In fact, to this day, when I'm in the Spar supermarket in Darling, I'm going down the aisle with my trolley, and I go around the corner and I crash into Ansari's trolley and says, oh, Mr. Uys, jy's a dronkie met your trolley. She says, you know, when we were renovating that house of yours all those years ago, I took a double Friday lunch break and I went to the house with this thing that I could scratch all that horrible green paint off the toilet doors to make it nice for you. Maar ek was bang vir die slange. No, listen, please. A family of cobras living under the floor. And I said to everybody when they started working on the house, I said, please be careful of the little animals, little lizards. No lizard loses a tail. Nothing gets hurt here. They also live here. And please don't kill snakes, because if you kill one snake, other snakes come to look for it. No, they said, no, don't worry. We don't kill snakes. There's a Umi in the community who catches them live. I said, okay, bring the Umi to catch these snakes. And so vragtig, the Umi came. He had a hat on, the Umi, the uncle. Waar is die slange? Ek sê, excuse? Waar is die slange? Ek sê, die slange is onder die vloer, oom. And they were, the snakes would, there's a hole in the floor. And he looked down the hole and, you know, he became a snake whisperer. He went, kippy, 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 and out they came. Oh, the snake, and he caught them behind the neck, you know, like this. And there he was standing, holding these two cobras. And they looked at me. And this old gentleman walked down the road with these two cobras in his hands. And he stopped. And he threw them over the fence into the garden of a broederbonder. So, 6 months after all that renovations, I moved into my house in Darling, lock, stock, and false eyelashes. The carpenter who had done all the renovations to the shutters and all the woodwork, he was working from the old Darling railway station, which was no longer a railway station, but I mean, it was there next to the railway line, and it was his workshop. And then he decided to move on, and suddenly this little corrugated iron blik geboutjie was empty, and the estate agent said, listen, could you use it as a storeroom, because if it's empty, the municipality will break it down. And I thought, no, you can't break down a station, especially an old one built in 1903. And I said, yes, of course, I've got lots of things to store. Excuse me, Can you imagine how many dresses I have to store for Mrs. Evita Besaidnet, who's been with me since 1981? And she always demands a choice of 3 of each dress, fat, medium, and large. No more small. And then the high-heeled shoes. I mean, enough high-heeled shoes to get Imelda Marcos to leave the Philippines and become a political exile in South Africa just to look at Evita's shoes. Okay, so I walked down to the railway line to go and look at this little building to see what I can do with it. And at that moment, one of these big diesel engines come growling past with the coaches. And I suddenly had an idea. Perron is the Afrikaans word for station platform. Evita Perron is that lady in Argentina who sang all those songs and died. Evita Besaidnout is still in the boot of my car. I am not going to use this as a storeroom. I'm going to turn this place into a theater and call it Evita se Perron, Evita Station Platform. So a few days later, I was back in Cape Town with my friends, and I said, guess what? I'm going to open a theater in Darling. They said, Darling, you're mad. Yes, mad is good. Mad means nobody's thought of it yet. I mean, if they'd all say, oh, what a good idea, too many fingerprints on that. So Evita se Perron started life as a work in progress 25 years ago, and it's still going strong. In fact, if you look at the map of Darling, and you can find that on your GPS or even on your Google Earth in the palm of your hand, you will see that the longest street in Darling is called the Evita Besaidnout Boulevard. My friend Helen Ziller doesn't have a boulevard. So here we are, me from Darling and you from all over the world, I think, and really, truly, I found some things in my sorting out that I thought I'd like to share with you and play a little bit with you. Because I don't know, look, I can't see you. You know, usually I'm on stage and I can see my audience and I can hear their phones ring and their sweet packets crackle. But I just have a feeling that quite a lot of you out there watching me tonight are of my generation. I mean, maybe we met each other for the first time at the Space Theatre in Cape Town during the 1970s, or at the Market Theatre in Johannesburg during the 1980s, or during the 1990s at the Baxter, at Peter Turin's Theatre, or at festivals all over South Africa and the world, frankly. So you will know this character because this character was one of my superstars during the anti-apartheid 1980s. And for those of you who aren't of my generation, who might be sort of 35 years old and younger, you won't actually probably know who this character is. Don't panic. Google, huh? More information that the world has ever had in the palm of your hand. All you now need is the knowledge. So, okay, right. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you who this character is. I'm going to show you 2 pieces of costume, and then you can make up your own mind and decide which is it here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Ready? Ta-da! Yes? Yes, my bread and butter. P.W. Botha. P.W. Botha was the Prime Minister, but then the President of South Africa during the 1980s. And of course, I did P.W. Botha because he was the President. And it was also illegal to make fun of the President, which made it even more fun. And so I'm going to do him for you, just for old time's sake, not because of nostalgia, please. I just want us to remember where we come from so we can make sure that today's democratically elected politicians don't try the same old tricks. Okay, let me take off the waistcoat because P.W. Botha never wore a waistcoat, but he did have a costume which really was quite easy because every time I did a member of the National Party, I wore the same costume. For all those years, for the whole of the 1980s, I wore the same costume. No wonder black people kept on saying, "Ha, you Afrikaners all look alike." So starting with, of course, the white shirt and the tie. Now, this is always a little bit of a problem for me. I mean, being 74, putting on a tie in public like this is a bit of an Alzheimer's test. So let me just check and see if I've got the... Uh-huh. Uh-huh. No. I'm sure it's not a Donald Trump tie, is it? Okay, right now, I'm going to put the waistcoat back on because I bought this waistcoat at the SPCA shop in Darling, and I know P.W. Botha didn't wear a waistcoat, but I always wear this waistcoat when I perform as a South African politician, either as a National Party politician or even an ANC politician, because when I put this on, it accentuates a multitude of sins. Ooh, right. Now, P.W. Botha's true colors, first of all, the jacket and the National Party rosette, and of course, the carnations. Of course, during the 1980s, when I did P.W. Botha on stage, I wore quite a lot of makeup. Now I even look like the old fucker. Revolutionaries may stamp their feet. The communists in the West may scream their lies. Our enemies worldwide may try to undermine us. But here is the reality. It is 1985, and apartheid is dead. We no longer practice apartheid in South Africa. We don't need to. We have it down to a fine art. Don't blame us, Afrikaners, for separating the races. God separated the races, so who can point a finger at us? Where in the world is there a society as just as ours in South Africa? Australia. After the systematic massacre of its Aboriginal peoples, the Australians now accuse us of racial genocide. Let me tell you, today we have 23 million blacks alive in South Africa, and they only have 160,000 left in Australia. And the mighty United States of America, after hundreds of years of racial discrimination and slavery, the Americans now ignore the ghettos of New York and Chicago. Our president of law and order, we know what happened to him. I must tell you, they were my favorite cluster of characters during the 1980s, starting with B.J. Vorster, John Vorster, who was still the prime minister at the end of the 1970s, but he was kicked up into the presidency to protect him from being put into jail because of the information scandal. I don't know if any of you remember the information scandal when we found out that our government was stealing taxpayers' money. We knew that would never happen again. Then, of course, P.W. Botha kicked himself up into the presidency to stay out of the wilderness where he belongs. Then came President F.W. de Klerk, which was difficult because he looked exactly like P.W. Botha. I mean, same bald head, same glasses, virtually same initials, definitely same problem. He even said to me, "Peter, are you now going to impersonate me on stage as well?" I said, "President de Klerk, it's going to be so difficult because you are just too good." And he believed me. Then came Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Come on. How do you make fun of Nelson Mandela? It's like doing Mother Teresa with a dildo. And yet, Nelson Mandela's great sense of humor inspired me to keep looking for the mock in democracy and exposing the con in reconciliation. And yes, I made fun of him, and he always laughed first. And he was only with us as president for one term in office. Now and there, one term in office, very un-African. I mean, I thought I had him for a lifetime. But after 5 years, he stepped aside and left me with Thabo Mbeki. What do I do with Thabo Mbeki? He didn't wear a colorful Madiba shirt. He didn't sing. He didn't dance. He very seldom smiled. It was very difficult to do him in a show until Thabo Mbeki reputedly suggested that HIV didn't lead to AIDS, And we lost 380,000 people in South Africa because of that confusion. So from that moment, my hands were full of Thabo Mbeki. But then suddenly the ANC recalled Thabo Mbeki from the presidency, and we had an interim acting president called Kgalema Motlanthe, obviously not a very good actor because he wasn't with us for very long as president. And he left without even making a mistake. But he left me with the greatest trump card of South African politics. Jacob Gedichelile Zuma. I love doing Jacob Zuma. I mean, he married everybody. I mean, he didn't give me just one first lady. He gave me 4 desperate first ladies. And he used to sing. He sang for his machine gun. Bring me my machine gun, my umshini wam, and dance. Oh, please, in those fantastic Zulu outfits. Well, not outfits. Rare and protected animal skins and assegais and shields and those white tackies, but great sense of rhythm. And the TV cameras loved him. When our president, Jacob Zuma, danced and danced and would kick his leg high up in the air in die balle het geswai. And when he came into our parliament as president of our country, he would laugh and he would giggle like a supermarket trolley with a squeaky wheel. And every time he laughed and every time he giggled, he demeaned our democracy into trash. And I loved doing him because I could do him very slowly. 8,870,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000. But then I heard laughter. No, anger. Angry voices. Young, angry voices shouting at me. You can't do Jacob Zuma. I said, why am I doing him that badly? They said, no, you're white. I said, what? They said, you're white. You can't do a black. I said, I'm not doing a black. I'm doing a corrupt president of South Africa who deserves to be laughed at. They said, oh, no, you can't do that anymore. That's politically incorrect. That's racist. You will have a hashtag. Uys must fall. I mean, look, I have been shouted at before. During the apartheid years, they never stopped. Pieter-Dirk Uys, jy mag dit nie doen nie. You may not do this. So I did it there. No, you may not do this here. And so I did it there. My magtig, nou doen jy dit weer so. And so I just put on one of Evita Besaid's dresses and they said, oh no, who do we lock up? Come on, what happened to acting? It's my job. I've been doing this for 40 years. I've got all these characters that I do. I impersonate them. That's what I do. Whites, blacks, coloreds, Indians, Jews, Catholics, everybody, male, female, and convertible. I have done them, and I thought I was still doing them. But wait. It's not just a pandemic around us at this moment. We're also in a minefield of hashtags and hate speech. And yeah, you know, I have to do a little bit of homework here. And if this is not acceptable as a satirical comment, then I must, I don't know, I just need to ask for help maybe. And I tell you who can help me here now is P.W. Botha. He helped me before in 1981 when I did my first satirical one-man show. I needed a title and I looked at the TV and there was P.W. Botha saying, South Africa, you must adapt or die. So maybe that's what I will do. I will not impersonate Jacob Zuma. I will stand back and allow P.W. Botha to give you his impersonation of Jacob Zuma. Oh, wait, now I must get back into character. Oh, getting back into character. Let's just see. Some actors get within themselves. You know, you must get into your inner soul to find, how do this? Let me think of a word. Okay, think of a word. Bond. No, not James Bond. Broederbond. Dink Broederbond. Umshini wam, umshini wam, umshini wam, umshini wam. So-called communists in the alliance might shout at me. So-called comrades in the ANC might stamp their feet. White monopoly capital might try to trap me, but this is the reality. It's 2020, and I did nothing wrong. Why do they accuse me of these things? What did I do? Everything I did as president of the ANC. I did it for the ANC. I did it for BEE. I was a champion for black economic transformation. I was a champion for economy, transferring the economy equally. I did that. I transferred all our economy equally to my friend, the Guptas. I did not steal. How can they call me a thief? I'm not a thief. It was given to me for security reasons. I warn you. I warn you. If you keep on pushing me through the courts, you will unleash forces in KwaZulu-Natal, the end result of which cannot be foreseen. I will keep everything I have because I'm a poor pensioner. And I have got a great amount of support in the ANC because I made them rich. I made them so rich. Hey, Om Shini Wam, Om Shini Wam, Om Shini Wam, Om Shini Wam, Om Shini Wam. Nah, 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 nah. Let me state here most categorically, and I'll repeat it with conviction. If you expropriate our land without compensation, you will unleash forces in South Africa, the end result of which cannot be foreseen. Don't tempt the tiger out of the Afrikaner. Boer maak 'n plan, hoor. We Afrikaners will protect our land and our language. And no one in a red beret will take it from us. But I don't need to sing for my machine gun, my Umshini Wam. I just have to recall the words of our sacred national Afrikaans anthem. Ons sal lewe, ons sal sterwe, ons vir jou Suid-Afrika. You might ask yourself now, who else have I got in here? Have I got President Cyril Ramaphosa in the box? No, no. Because he's working very, very hard. And I wish him well, because when he stops working very hard, he'll end up in the box. I don't know what this is doing in the box, quite frankly. It's just teaching me a very important lesson. Be careful who you laugh at. I mean, when they said to us that Donald Trump was planning to become the president of America, how we all laughed. Who's laughing now? When they said that Brexit was going to happen in the United Kingdom, we laughed because it was impossible that a world-famous democracy like the UK would do something so stupid. Don't laugh. And Julius Malema, very clever man, charismatic man. Somebody must have told him that after the Depression, Hitler came to power very quickly, and we're economically not very well at the moment. But I very specifically remember a few months, years ago, when Julius Malema was still the president of the ANC Youth League, and he was in court for hate speech, which is something he's now copyrighted. And Winnie Mandela, beautiful, mother of the nation, looking great. She always did when she took her medication. She was really a superstar. She was outside waiting for young Julius Malema, and the world cameras were waiting too. And he came out with a big smile because he was not locked up. And when he put her arms around Julius, and she said, "To the world, this is the new Nelson Mandela." And clever man, he picked up immediately on that and he said, "Yes, I am the new Nelson Mandela. In future, you will treat me like you treated Nelson Mandela." I thought, what a good idea. Let's start with 27 years in jail. I suppose we have to do our homework when it comes to our politics. History does repeat itself and rhymes at the same time. I mean, expropriation of land without compensation was the foundation to the whole apartheid empire. But here, let me just borrow from my beloved Archbishop Desmond Tutu. When the white missionaries came to South Africa, they had the Bible and we had the land. And they said, "Let us pray." And we closed our eyes and we prayed. And when we opened our eyes, we had the Bible and they had the land. I can just thank all politicians, especially South African politicians, who will always hopefully keep on turning their world upside down on my stage. Oh, which also brings me to Evita Seperon. The first thing we had to build into that little room was a stage. And so I got the wood together and I got the nails and the hammer, and it was a Saturday morning and it was nice and warm, so the door was open, the railway line was there, and I bang, 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 and I look up, and in the doorway is a little chappie, a little boy from the community across the road, watching me, and he says, "Wat maak jy? What you do?" I said, I'm building a stage. "Why?" I said, "We're going to turn this into a theater." "Why?" I said, "Well, we want to do shows here and we want to laugh and we want to sing." "You want to sing?" I said, "Yeah." "Ooh, I like to sing." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you sing well?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, come and sing." "No." I said, "Yes, man, it's just you and me. Come, sing." "Must I pay?" I said, "No." "Do I get paid?" I said, "Not yet." And he came onto the stage and he stood there and he sang, and it was horrible. I mean, he was so frightened. I mean, that happens when you're frightened. You can't do anything properly. You just wanted, well, he wanted to start crying. I said, "No, please don't cry. Come back next Saturday and we'll try it again." "Okay." Look, I didn't think he would, but he did. Next Saturday morning, there he was, back on the stage, and he sang his song, and it was less horrible. And he came back the next Saturday, and the next Saturday, and the next 4 months of Saturdays, he came back every time and sang his song. And then when we had the first talent show for the children of our darling community, this little 7-year-old boy came number 1 with his song. And 10 years later, when he was 17, he came second in the world in the London Trinity College singing exam. So you see, dreams can come true in Darling. Oh gosh, BBC. Do you know the BBC really gave us a fantastic thing a few months ago, again in the old world. The BBC travel show had a whole thing about South Africa. Beautiful, beautiful, of course, South Africa is beautiful. And right at the end, they had some highlights for your visit to Cape Town. Number 1, you can now have a bath. Number 2, bring your own torch just in case. Number 3, go to Robben Island and visit Nelson Mandela's prison cell. And number 4, go to Darling and visit Evita Seperon, from the sublime to the ridiculous. And then they also had a section on the Boerkaap. The Boerkaap, which is Upper Cape Town, a very traditional, it used to be known as the Malay Quarter. It is still got those wonderful houses painted different colors. It's become very much a tourist destination. And of course, all the publicity on television makes it even more of a destination. And my friend, Mrs. Peterson, has actually moved to the Boerkaap from Athlone on the Cape Flats. She needed a bit of explanation when I was doing the show in London. I started the sketch by saying, by the way, I'm now going to perform a female character, a woman, and I think some of the audience went, what, hashtag me too, excuse me, hello. I said, she's a mixed race, Cape colored woman. Oh, what, God, hashtag Black Lives Matter, what, I said, what's more, she's a Muslim. Oh, hashtag Brexit. And I said, she's a Muslim woman who is on her way to the United Kingdom. Oh, hashtag help. Mrs. Peterson is still sorting out the house because her brother died and left her the house, and so she's still got lots of boxes. But thanks to this extraordinary gift of time, she's been able to sort out many of her things. Except now that we are going towards the end of the third level, things are starting to come back. Tourism is starting to move. The tourist buses are starting to visit the Boerkaap, and Mrs. Peterson is not really very happy. Excuse me, will you stop banging at the door? This is not a public convenience. This is a house, no? I'm not going to open the door. Ooh, Alia, wat gaan aan hier so? What's going on here in the Boerkaap? You know, thank heavens for the lockdown, not all the months to just sort things out. And look, I'm nowhere because there's so much to sort out. Because before that, every day, the tourist buses, they stop here out of my door, outside. They don't go through the little streets because they are too big. So they stop here and everybody wants to use my toilet. And eventually I just said to them, welcome to Cape Town. I'm terribly sorry. My toilet has been stolen. No, sometimes I was cross, no? There was this man, he wanted me to pose for a selfie. And then he said, when did you arrive? I said, what? He says, when did you arrive? I said, I arrived in 1652, 9 months after Jan van Riebeeck arrived from Holland. Bloody man. No, man, listen, this is not nice. I've got too much to do. And what's more, I've got to fill in my forms. I'm applying for a UK visa. Well, once this pandemic sorts itself out, you know, we've got to think positively, and maybe there's going to be a vaccine, but I hope sooner than later because, ek is bang. But I must get this visa because I thought I could just fill it in and then go down the road, you know, and on the foreshore, there's a place there where you can go with the British High Commission, but now you can't go to places like that. Everything has got to be through the internet. And I've not got an internet. I'm still scared of my phone. So I don't think I can go over to Manchester. You see, the reason is I'm going to visit my family who have been in Manchester for a long, long time. And my grandson is turning 21. But I was in the post office last week. I had my mask on, of course. No? And there was my friend. And I said to her, "Nee, man, I don't think I can go overseas because I haven't got an internet, so I can't fill in the form." "No," says a man in the queue. He says, "I can help you. I'm a guru when it comes to the internet." Can you believe it? I'm so lucky, and he's coming now. He's on his way to help me now. I have filled in everything here. He said I must go to the chemist and get photographs for the visa. So I went to the chemist and my photograph, they've got one with my doek. Ek het 'n doek. I wore a doek. Then the man, the chemist says to me, "Where are you going with this thing?" I said, "I'm going to the United Kingdom." He said, "Oh God, you can't have a doek. They don't let people in with a doek." No. Oh, so I did one of me without a doek. But oh God, ek lyk so fit. Oh, I hope the Queen doesn't see a picture of me looking like this. Anyway, so I've filled in most of this. What's this now? Oh, my phone. Oh, please don't tell me this man is cancelling. What's it? Hello? It's Mrs. Peters. Yeah, I recognize your voice now. No, I'm nearly ready for you. I'm just checking my list of answers and just make sure that it's right for you. I don't want to waste your time. Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. You know that I'm going to Manchester to see my family. And hello? Oh, die man is baie besig. He's probably got another call waiting. Let me quickly get this sorted out and then I can go. And okay. Family name, Peterson, huh? But then
My friend said to me, but it might sound, Jewish. Jewish, wat Jewish? Ek is nie Jewish nie, wat is Jewish? Peterson, ag nee man, it's Pete. No, try and be Scandinavian, ne? Peterson, ne? Peterson, we had a minister in the government, Peterson, she sold all the fishes, but she had a Peterson. So Peterson. Then 4 names. I've only got 2. But my second name is Fatima. I'll take that out. I don't think that'll work in the United Kingdom. Anna Peterson. Date of birth, place of birth. What is a gender, no? I don't know, the man must fill it in, gender. And then, do you currently hold any other nationality? Of course, I want to write Cape Coloured, but then somebody said, no. My friend, Auntie Mel, she said, don't say coloured, it's a swear word overseas. Wow, they've turned me into a swear word overseas. So I didn't say anything there. Then all the others are there. Yeah, yes, Your Majesty. No, Your Majesty. Yes, Your Majesty. How long do you intend to stay in the UK? I don't know. Look, I don't know when can I go? My grandson, 21, I've never seen him. He was born there. I talked to him and his other little brother on the phone. Of course, the Skype, which a friend of mine has got down at the chemist. And they've got this Manchester accent. I don't understand. They talk football all the time. But I want to see them. But it's so difficult because it says here, when will your aeroplane arrive? You must give them the time of arrival. And I said, no, I don't think I go. Nee, sê my vriende, don't be stupid, man. Jy's 'n kleerlingvrou van die bloody Kaap. You just say to them, you are Nelson Mandela's friend. You want access to your own family. They can't do it. It's against human rights, man. Say it's your human rights. Maybe if this thing takes a long time, it'll be only Christmas when I can go over. And they said, you can go for a white Christmas. I say, excuse me, I had my last white Christmas in 1994. I don't want any more of those. Nou ja, anyway, daar gaan het nog meer. No, this is also Your Majesty. Oh, now listen, this is interesting. Have you ever traveled to the UK in the last 10 years? You see, this is meant for rich colored people and rich white people and rich Indian people. Waar gaan ek so ver, ne? I've never been outside Cape Town ever, ne? But it's, oh man, I am so excited to go because I wanted to see the London that I see on the TV and the Queen. I love the Queen. I think she's very special for me. I saw her at her birthday. She's 94 now. They had a birthday, and there she was sitting in a parade ground on a chair, and they were marching back and forth. It was the trooping of the colours, and up, down, everybody. And daar sit die vrou, she sat there for nearly 3 hours. She never got up once to go to the toilet. Ooh, die vrou is a Muslim. No, it's true. And I said to my daughter, of course, my daughter lives in Manchester. She and her husband, they were here last year. For the first time in 15 years, they came back. And I said to them, what does it look like for you here in Cape Town now that you can see us? They say, no, Mama, when we see Cape Town on the TV in Manchester, it looks like you're in a civil war. I said, no, man, we call it democracy. You people have forgotten because of Brexit, but this is what democracy looks like. Everybody is free. Oh, they took me to the Mount Nelson Hotel for my birthday. Oh, I wore my doek and somebody thought I was an Arabian princess. I wanted to say, yeah, no, I'm the landlady from Dubai to collect the rental from the Guptas and the Zubas. Oh, and I saw Charlize Theron, beautiful actress Charlize Theron. But then the waitress said, no, all the Afrikaans white girls from Durbanville look like Charlize Theron, so it wasn't her. No, yeah, this is also something there. Then it says, do you have a university degree? And then I thought, why must I have a degree? And then I thought, why can't I make a joke here? And I wanted to write, yeah, I have got a university degree and I got it from the ANC free. But they say, don't make jokes. They don't like jokes. Have you any criminal convictions? I mean, I can't lie to the Queen. No. When I think back 1982, no, I was arrested because of apartheid, anti-apartheid demonstrations. And I think I was in jail for 2 days. Is that still criminal or is that an investment for the future? This is what I must ask the man. Now, here the last question is I want to ask. Not even the apartheid government would have asked us these questions in the old days. In times of either peace or war, have you ever been involved in or suspected of involvement in war crimes, crimes against humanity or genocide? I just wrote, Your Majesty, I'm a South African. Ooh, and then it's your husband, your spouse. Ooh, die bliksem is dood, so ek gaan nie daaroor worry. Ooh, daar gaan die phone alweer. Oh no, now don't tell me this man's got lost or he's been stopped. Hello? Are you okay? They didn't stop you and search your boot for some wine? Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. No, I make a joke. Hey, where are you? Are you down the road? Yeah. at the Hilton Hotel. Hmm? Listen, I've got a beautiful doek. A scarf. You can see me. You will notice me. It's a shiny doek. I got this in Durban at my sister's funeral. It's very expensive. Nobody's got a doek like this. And I'm wearing a mask in the same material, no? But no, if you go onto the stoep, you must look up the road to the right. You'll see my house in the top of Wales Street, and on the left. Yeah, it's got a red door, green window panes, and orange walls. Yeah, it's a place called Nightmare. Ooh, now listen. Yeah, now I've got the money for the fee, no? The fee. Is this going to be, what do you do with the 600 rand, no? In cash, yeah. It goes to the cloud. What is a cloud? No, you may. Oh, of course, it's internet banking. I don't understand any of it. It's like pushing a needle through a haystack yeah. No. I'm going to Manchester. Wait. What did you say? What is that? No, wait, say it again. No, man. When did that happen? 4,000 rand. Why didn't you tell me? Did you tell me? No, don't blame yourself. My ears are very bad. Maybe I didn't hear properly. What? In cash? Where am I going to get 4,000 in cash? No, it's all in the bank. It's my money for my grandson's birth. Well, what ATM? We've got an ATM down the road, but we don't use it because they attack us there. No, man. 4 different ATMs. Why? 1,000 rand in cash from each one. Oh, I don't know what to do here. Huh? Oh, no, I didn't realize that. Oh, that's very nice. You've got a car. No, sorry. I just get so nervous with the virus everywhere, and I'm so scared I'll get the sickness and not see my family. Yeah, no, thank you. I will come with you in the car then. No, then I can stay in the car, and then you can just go to each ATM and... No, I've got a PIN number. No? Yeah. No, I've written it on a piece of paper so I don't lose it. I'll give you the PIN number and you go and draw the money. Listen, I'm sorry I don't remember your name. I'm so rude talking to you and I don't. Mr. Obadinga. Oh, you come from there. No, people say you Nigerians are so clever. Hey, really? You've got a vaccine already? Oh, halia.
Mrs. Peterson is actually a real person who keeps on telling me stories about her life. And when I did this sketch at the Joseph Stone Auditorium in Athlone, the first 10 rows were filled with Mrs. Petersons. And the real Mrs. Peterson came backstage with her little friend, a little lady, also with a doek, everybody with a doek. And she said, "Oh, Massa, is ek het so gelag het my broek gepiepie." I was interviewed by a British journalist a few months ago in the old world. And she asked me, and she said, "What does it feel like having satirized South African politics for the last 40 years?" I said, "Well, imagine you've got your head in a blocked toilet for 40 years. You lose your sense of smell. But thanks to Darling, I think I can smell the flowers again." It's not easy. It's not funny. Really, truly, I don't know how many of you wake up. Every morning, wake up and you suddenly think, "Oh God, I've got a sore throat. Oh, please God, I don't want it. Is it? Oh, no." And then I've got a cough. Where does this cough come from? Is that a symptom? And then maybe I've got a temperature, by which time you've got a temperature just because you're so scared and you think, "Oh God, I can't smell, I can't taste." And no, don't panic. Don't look too much news. The news is not helpful. The world is in a terrible state and there's nothing you can do about it. But there's so much you can do in your community, with your neighbors and your friends and your community. Let's make community the jewel in the crown of democracy. And really, truly, for every piece of bad news, I can assure you, there are 2 pieces of good news. But the bad news frightens you into silence and you close your eyes. The good news you must look for. And in every community, people are helping each other. I think there is such a surge of humanity and goodness and generosity of spirit, and the nurses and the doctors and the people. And those are the ones I want to celebrate tomorrow on Nelson Mandela's birthday, those 67 minutes to give to a community, to the people who need it. I mean, I couldn't wait till tomorrow. That's why I did mine today, here with you now. And yes, I am optimistic. I really believe there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's just the tunnel is still curved. And she's in the box. And I don't think there's time for Evita Besaidner. No, I'm afraid this is, oh my God, I knew this was going to happen. I can promise you, I will bring her back next time. 9th of August is Women's Day. So let's unmask Evita on Women's Day. She'll need more than 60 plus minutes because she's got a lot of unmasking to do. And in the meantime, look after yourself. Wear your mask. It's not very flattering. We all have got to have little cauliflower ears after. And once every now and then, just stop and look in a mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror and just say, hello, darling, you're still here. We're still here. And happy birthday, Nelson Mandela. Do you know Nelson Mandela loved Evita? The phone would ring, and I'd pick up the phone, and this voice would say, Peter, where is Evita? Bring Evita. And so I'd take Evita to one of his extraordinary gala gatherings. Nelson Mandela managed to get all the great superstars in the world to come, and they would bring all the important media, and the world would be celebrating us in the late 90s, early 2000s. And Evita would be on that stage having her 15 minutes of fame. And Nelson Mandela was always the first one to laugh when she said, oh, Madiba, I never knew why you went to jail. I thought you'd stolen a car. Do you know, I think it was just so extraordinary standing there in this creature, and then all these people, Oprah Winfrey, the Queen of Holland, Beyoncé, Bono, Bill Clinton. I looked at Bill Clinton looking at Evita, and I thought, yo, yaks, yakals. And the 20th time, he was with her. Nelson Mandela was with Evita on stage. He came onto the stage. He held her hand like Ronald Reagan would hold Nancy Reagan's hand. And the people were singing and dancing and celebrating this great country and this great future. And I whispered loudly to the most famous man in the world through Evita's lipstick. I said, President Mandela, every time you see me, I'm dressed as Evita Besaidner. He said, don't worry, Peter, I know you're inside. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Madiba. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Madiba. Happy birthday to you.